Alright guys, I hope everyone is well. I hope you're enjoying this course so far. You'll be pleased to know this is the last lesson of this particular module. So well done for digging in. Well done for all of your efforts so far. This really is an important module, which is why I've put this module first on this professional traders course, because we are here to scale, and we're here to do something serious, which is achieve our dreams and goals in life. And all of the components that I've kind of put together here is something you really need to consider and input in your career, in your trading career, before you even look at the charts and things like that. So well done, and yeah, we'll carry on, guys, as we are. So this module, this lesson, is SWOT analysis, and we're going to just talk about what that means. Now, before I go any further, I just want to say I've been on a lot of courses where people have spoken about SWOT analysis, and they've done a very good job of overcomplicating it, let's just say, because any college course you go on, any business course you go on, they talk about SWOT analysis, and they can go on about SWOT analysis for months on end. But in my opinion, it should be simplified a lot more than what it is. So I'm not going to overcomplicate SWOT analysis. This is a Forex trading course. We are here to, teach you how to trade and go from 0 to 6-figure funded accounts. But SWOT analysis does come into play. And I think the most effective thing is by keeping it simple and understanding what it is and why we use it and things like that. Because we're going to identify certain things. And this is going to tell you, as long as you're honest, this is going to tell you a lot about yourself. And it's going to be a really interesting topic. Okay, it's a really interesting topic because it is an eye-opener to the real world and what we're kind of looking for with our analysis and things like that. Okay, so without further ado, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so what is SWOT? Let's talk about SWOT first. Okay, SWOT analysis is a framework for identifying and analyzing your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. These words make up the word SWOT. Okay, so the word SWOT is made up of those words: strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. The primary goal of a SWOT analysis is to increase awareness of the factors that go into making a business decision or establishing a business strategy. Now, very, very powerful. Okay, very, very powerful. And very simply, that is all we're going to do. We are going to identify what our potential strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are. And it's going to give you an opportunity to fill it in yourself and make your own personal one. And then we're going to have a little action plan at the end. So, let's first talk about identifying your strengths and weaknesses first. Okay, so strengths, and you have to ask yourself these types of questions because, like I said, and a lot about this module I've spoken and I've said, look guys, this is all very personal to you, and the same goes for the SWOT analysis. Okay, this is your personal journaling. This is your personal analysis of you and your life, because what you may be really good at, someone else may not be as good as you at it. Okay, what you may have as a strength, someone else may not have that. Okay, but there are certain questions we need to ask ourselves when we are specifying it to trading. Okay, so for example, what are my best performing patterns? Okay, what are my best performing patterns? So, is it that I'm looking to do accumulation trades, distribution trades? Am I only trading off of imbalance? Am I better waiting for candles to form in order blocks rather than FU candles or IC candles and things like that? And guys, please don't worry if you don't understand the terminology of the trading that I'm talking about, because Once you know it, it will all just click. It'll all just come into play. Okay, so that's all fine. What currency pairs do I understand? So certain currency pairs move in certain ways. So I can tell you now, the euro dollar moves differently to gold, because gold is very, very volatile, and gold has a lot of manipulation involved, as where Euro USD is a little bit cleaner. And then you've got the indices, which is the pairs I like to trade. They're extremely volatile. Now, I understand those pairs a lot simpler, or more simple, than I do necessarily gold. So you've got to really identify what pairs you understand, and that's a strength. What am I really good at trading? Do I understand news events? Obviously, if you do, that's obviously a strength, because you know not to trade NFP weeks, you know not to trade FOMC weeks, little things like that. So is that something you can put in your strengths, that you understand the news? What market sessions do I excel in? So obviously you've got the certain market sessions. You've got Tokyo session, you've got Asian session, you've got London session, you've got New York session, you've got London New York overlap, you've got New York Tokyo overlap, you've got Tokyo Asian session overlap, you've got Asian session London session overlap. You've got a lot of opportunity to trade, and for sometimes, depending on where you are, is where you should be trading. So if you're obviously coming from the USA, which I know a few of you on this course are, then the best place for you to probably be is in the New York session, because London session will probably be in the middle of the night for you guys. But if you're in London, you've probably got the best possible situation, because you can trade the London session at 8 o'clock GMT time, and then the New York session at 2:30 GMT time, which is when the volatility kicks in. But what works for you? Where do you excel? I am privileged enough to be from the UK, where I am able to trade London session and New York session. However, where that gets me is because I've got two. I know I'm better at one than the other, so I'm better at trading New York session. I have more success in New York session, so that there, New York session is a strength for me. London session isn't really as strong, so I would say that the New York session is more of a stronger point for me. Okay, so just that may be something you might want to ask yourself. What has worked well for me so far? So any success you have, how has it got you there? What has it done? Have you had a previous way of trading that's actually given you success? Are you understanding break of structures? Are you understanding imbalance really well? Are you really understanding the reaccumulation play? Are you better at trading on the 1 hour, 4 hour time frames, or do you think you're getting more results from the 5 minute time frames? There's little things like that you just need to consider when you are writing down what your strengths are. For me, I prefer, and I find I'm getting better trades on the 5 minute pairs and the 1 minute pair time frames and things like that. So that could be something you could consider as well, for sure. So let's talk about weaknesses, guys. What do I need to do to improve on? And can I just say, before we go into this section here, it is very, very important, because there's no right or wrong answer. This is you making yourself the best you can possibly be. It is very, very important you are honest with yourself. You have to be as honest as can be. Even if you don't think you've got many strengths, but you've got more weaknesses at this moment in time, please write them down. Because when you come back at this in a few months' time, this is all going to change. This is all going to change. And the rewards are going to be unbelievable. But like I said in a couple of lessons ago, we all start somewhere. And it's very, very important to realise we all start somewhere. Okay, guys, so please be honest about what your potential weaknesses are. So what are my weaknesses in trading? Am I too emotional? Am I just not understanding the strategy yet? Have I got no understanding of structure, market structure? Do I understand directional bias? Am I losing trades and then taking more trades and losing more trades? So consider what your weaknesses are in trading, because we'll all have them. I've got them. Everyone has. Even the most efficient traders in the world will have weaknesses. Okay, there is weaknesses all around the world. Everyone has got them. So it's about identifying what your weaknesses are in your trading at the moment? Am I overcome by fears? So what I mean by that is, how emotional are you? And do I revenge trade? Do I sort of stop trading and taking more trades when I do lose? Have I, I've got a rule: if I lose 2 trades in a row, I'm done for the day trading. Not that I would walk away from the charts, but I'm go back to the study board, for example. If I lose 2 days in a row, I probably won't trade for the next day, and things like that. But are you taking a couple of losses, and are you then just not trading for a couple of weeks? Do you really understand the emotional side of it? How is your personal development when it comes to it? Because it's important. It's important, guys. Am I impulsive in my trading? Okay, so are you an impulsive trader? Do you make decisions quickly? Are you able to think on your feet? When you're on the 1 minute time frame, the 5 minute time frame, I can honestly say it's a minefield, it's a battlefield in there, because everything's happening very quickly. So would you be better on the 1 hour time frame where things are a little bit slower? Because structure moves in the same way, guys. It all moves in the same way, and that's the truth of it. But that's maybe a question you can ask yourself with regards to weaknesses. Do I trade based on emotion? So do I take trades really, 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 really desperate for it to come through and a win? Am I, if the trade hits my stop loss, am I really, really upset about it? Because if you are, then you're not quite ready, guys. I'm sorry if you don't want to hear that, but if you are high on emotion in your trading environment, you're not supposed to be there right now. And that's okay, guys. That's just where you are. Go back to the demo account and practice. And this goes back to the daily habits, guys, because the daily habits is so important to help you with your emotion, with your discipline. Discipline will take you where you want to go, and it will help with your emotion. But once you get there, guys, trust me, nothing can substitute experience. Do I follow my plan correctly? Now, guys, if you don't have a trading plan at this moment in time, do not panic. We're going to go through that in the next module. Really, really exciting stuff. But if you've got a plan, do you follow it correctly? How important is that trading plan to you? Have you got a set of rules that if you've got 8 confirmations, for example, and 7 of them come through, but 1 of them doesn't, are you taking that trade anyway? Or are you disciplined enough to say, no, this has not met my confirmations, so I'm not taking this trade? And then what happens when that trade does work out? Are your emotions taking over? Are you thinking to yourself, why didn't I take that trade? I could have gained 10%. And then the next time you sit there with 7 out of 8 confirmations, you take the trade, and guess what? You lose the trade. Because you haven't followed your plan correctly. And then what happens if you follow your plan the next time, 8 out of 8 confirmations, and then you still lose? Do you just think, well, sod this, I'm going to throw my plan away? This is all about the process, guys. Because if you follow your plan correctly, you're still going to lose a couple of trades every now and then. But it's going to take you to financial freedom. It's going to take you to your funded accounts. It just means you're going to lose a couple of trades still. Because that's how it works in trading, guys. You don't have a 100% win rate. So is your emotion on top of you on that? Just think about these things, guys, on your weaknesses and your strengths as well. And that's really where we are with strengths and weaknesses for a few examples. So we can move on to the next bit. So we can now look at identifying opportunities and threats. Okay, so opportunities. What can I exploit? Strengths that can potentially turn into opportunities. Do I check for news events before my trading day? So one thing you really need to do is get to know the website forexfactory.com. Okay, forexfactory.com. And if you have that website, it should be saved on your top bar on your internet browser, and that should be open next to your trading view analysis chart. If you ever look on my mentorship programs, on my Zoom calls, on my social media lives or anything, and you can see my browser, you will see every single time I've got Forex Factory open as well, I am looking at the news. I am checking for red folder events because it's important, guys. You never know when volatility is going to kick in, but the news gives you a pretty good idea, guys. So just think about that as well, okay? Do I trade pairs that correlate to this particular session? So, for example, I said in a couple of lessons ago, if you remember correctly, I trade the indices and I trade in the New York session because they move better in New York session. And when I've taken a few London session trades in the previous couple of weeks, I've been doing that and sorry, I don't mean London session, I mean the Euro USD sessions, Euro USD pairs in London session. There we go, we got there in the end. Okay, if you take a couple of those pairs, they might move better in London, or pound USD pairs might trade better in London session than New York session. So just make sure your pairs correlate to the session you're actually trading, because that's an opportunity you could be missing out on as well. And which good setups am I missing out on, and why? So this, if you remember correctly, guys, I was talking about really limiting down to 1 or 2 pairs, because the amount of times I've seen positions get lost because you've got 8, 10, 12 pairs to analyze, and you've taken a setup on your analyzing on one pair and you're waiting for it to happen, but you've not set a pending order yet, and then you're onto another chart looking for something to take because you're looking for trades all the time and you're not being patient. And then what tends to happen is you go back to the original chart you were first on and you've actually missed the setup. It's happened, it's gone without you, and you've missed out on a potentially good trade. So is there any sort of decent looking setups that you're missing out on, and why are you missing out on them? Is it because you're trading too many pairs? Is it because you're not trading in the correct session? So just think about little things like that as well, guys. Which session is more ideal for me to trade? So really just carrying that on, you know, depending on what pair you trade, which time of day does that pair move better? So like for me, the indices move better during the New York session, because that's when the volatility hits, during the New York session. You know, NASDAQ and US 30 are American assets, so they open in the morning in New York, which is the New York session. So that's why I trade those pairs, and that's an opportunity for me that I'm turning into a strength. Now, a strength that's obviously been found as an opportunity. Am I taking advantage of all of the available resources, tools to optimize my trading and mindset? So obviously, guys, you've got this course, you've invested into this course, but are you watching every single video? Are you skipping videos? If you are, you need to stop skipping videos and go over this stuff, because there's going to be, like, this is module 1, for example. Module 2 is going to talk about, you know, a bit more about planning and components, but it's going to be more on the trading side. So your trading plan, your trading journal, your trader's constitution, things like that. And then we're going to really dive deep into trading. We're going to talk about the basics in module 3, and module 4 is going to be diving very, very deep. And this course is going to be ongoing. This course is going to be ongoing with seriously good content, and it's going to talk about everything. So once you have it and it's available to you, are you going to correctly use it? And there's going to be a lot of information on mindset. There's going to be a lot of tools that continue to update within the Discord group. You know, this community is a community that is going to grow and grow and grow. Just make sure you don't miss it. You know, and aside from this course as well, have you got the correct settings on your fibs? Have you got the correct settings with your trading view? And again, guys, if you haven't, don't worry, that's all going to be taken care of. You know, that'll be spoken about in the next module. So yeah, there's just some things to think about there as well, guys, and there's just some examples. So let's move on to threats. What threats am I potentially facing? And once again, guys, like I said earlier, be honest with yourself. Okay, be honest with yourself, because otherwise, you know, how are we ever going to improve? So this is a funny one, because it happens. It happens, all right? What do I do if the Wi-Fi goes down whilst I have a trade open? What do I do if I'm looking to take a trade and the Wi-Fi just crashes? What am I going to do? Have you got a backup generator somewhere? Are you connected to some kind of VPN account? So VPN is almost like it's a virtual server So your internet, if it breaks, you've still got the VPN you can kind of rely on and things like that. Or do you need the internet for that? I don't, it's those things there. I think little things you just need to think about. So I would suggest if you haven't got access to VPNs and things like that, and your Wi-Fi just goes down, just make sure that if you're in a trade, you've got your stop loss and take profits set. Never enter a trade without putting a stop loss in. Never, ever, ever enter a trade without putting a stop loss in. Because if situations like this and your Wi-Fi goes down, then obviously you need to be making sure that if it stops you out, it stops you out and then you're okay. And something else I would maybe suggest, and this is where I would say your phone is acceptable to use, because I know I previously spoken about how you shouldn't use your phone for trading. Maybe if you've got your internet that's wiped yourself out, and the phone is on you've got MetaTrader on your phone, you can turn your internet off on your phone and you should be able to get data if you've obviously got available data. So make sure you've got data available as well, so you can check the trade and monitor the trade, and if you have to exit, then you have to exit. So yeah, that's something to think about, definitely. And the same thing, what happens if my PC or laptop shuts down? Okay, so things happen, glitches happen, that you can get malfunctions, and randomly it can just happen. Randomly you can get an update pop up, and you can accidentally just click install, and it installs, and then you're out for 5 hours. What if you're in a trade? So again, guys, the most important thing, set your stop losses on your trades. Make sure you're doing that, guys. Okay, make sure you set stop losses. And again, that, like we said, you can potentially go back onto your phone, look at the data side of it, and then yeah, go into there. Am I revenge trading or over trading? This is a massive, massive threat, guys. Am I revenge trading or over trading? And this comes down to your emotion. So am I taking trades because I've lost a trade and I just want to get back, which then couples to over trading? Am I taking too many trades? Everyone is guilty of this. I would be surprised if no one puts that on their threats page. I really do believe that everyone that comes across this is probably over trading to some degree. I'm guilty of over trading sometimes. I'm very guilty of it. And some of the best traders you will ever meet will be guilty of over trading. Because, guys, we're human. We're human and we make mistakes. How many mistakes do you make at work accidentally? The only thing is these mistakes are going to cost you percentages on your account. But that's why we trade with appropriate risk management. And we always make sure that we're only risking 1 or 2% of our account. And we have to be emotionless. So it's about learning, about being disciplined, about dealing with emotions. So that could be something you may be doing, maybe a threat. Do I have a detailed trading plan in place? Well, hopefully, after reading and learning on this module, you will have a detailed business and plan in place. Hopefully. Because that there is going to set you up in the correct way. If you haven't yet got it, don't panic. Just take the time to really detail your business plan, define your dreams, set your goals, incur potential costs, write down what your setup costs are going to be, write down what your business setup's going to look like, what you're going to call your business, book an appointment with your accountant, little things like that. But they're threats. If you don't have that in place, that is considered a threat. Do losing streaks have a huge negative impact on my mindset and emotion? Again, guys, I would guess, this is going to be a very popular one, because this here, it can impact us, guys. What if you have 3 losing days in a row? Does that lead to over trading? Does that lead to you getting really down? Does that lead to you thinking it doesn't work? Does that make you sit there and think, oh, this was a scam. This is a scam. The foreign exchange market, a scam. Really? Come on, guys. It just means you have a losing streak. But how is that going to impact your mindset, your emotion? And this comes down to you practicing and working on you as a person, guys. You have to shift your paradigm. You have to think like a 7-figure trader. Okay, guys, so that's just really the threats. So this here, obviously there's nothing under strengths or weaknesses, and the reason is because this is for you to fill out now. I have uploaded this into the documents page, and this is going to be for you to download, print off, and fill out yourself. If you don't want to print it off, obviously write it down on a bit of paper, make sure it's neat, make sure it's organized. And this is something you need to do, guys. So in your own time, make sure you're filling this in. Strengths, what am I good at? Weaknesses, what do I need to do to improve on? And then when we move on to the next slide, we've got the same thing, identifying your opportunities and threats. So what can I exploit? What threats am I facing? So take the time and fill in these areas, guys, and just work it out for yourself. Be very personal with it and be honest, guys. Be as honest as you can possibly be. It is the strongest medication. Honesty. Okay? So now we can talk about putting it all together. So once you've completed the above steps, you will have a much more accurate perspective of yourself and the market in which you operate. You will be able to put together a strategic plan that takes into consideration the elements of strategy mentioned here. So we've got our edge, we've got our strategy, we've got our business, we've got our analysis, we've got our goal setting, we've got our daily routines down, we've got the anatomy of our trading business. We have been through already a lot in this module, but this module, guys, is the beginning of this incredibly valuable course, which is going to set you up with a life skill no one, and I mean no one, can take away from you. We haven't looked at the charts yet, but this is an important module because it's important to consider these steps. You have to understand, guys, and this is really, really important. You have to understand, to be a successful trader, if you take out of a percentage of 100%, 20% of it, in fact 10% of it, is the skill. 10% of it is the execution. 80% is your brain, it's your mindset, it's your personal development, it's your emotion. 80% of that. And that comes down to your planning, to your analysis, to your goal setting, to identifying your why. Why are you here? What has brought you on this course? Why do you even want to learn trading? What made you come across trading and think, yeah, this is a bit of me, this is what I want to do? Why do you want to earn all that money? What is your why? These are things to think about, guys. These are things to go through. Hopefully you've enjoyed Module 1. Module 2 is going to be a little bit more in the trading side. We're going to talk about trading plans, journals, that kind of thing, and setup, basic setup and all that, and we're going to go into the charts after that. But guys, keep plugged in, keep talking in the Discord, keep moving towards your goals, and as always, guys, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask, because I am here for you guys. I'm here to help you achieve your goals. You've invested in this course, so I'm here to help you, and I'm here to make sure you get to where you want to be. So with that, I will see you on the next module, guys.